Tracy?
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome to the March 19th business meeting at the Council of the Borough of Ringwood. This meeting is being broadcast live and will be replayed on Channel 77 throughout the week. Nicole, statement of comments.
Adequate notice of this business meeting has been provided in accordance with the Open Publics Meeting Law, PL 1975, Chapter 231, setting forth the time, date, place, and purpose of this business meeting by consent agenda resolution number 2019-11, adopted January 2nd, 2019, through a legal notice published in the Suburban Trends, issue of January 13th, 2019, and through notices emailed to the following named newspapers and posted on the bulletin board at Borough Hall on January 7th, 2019. The Suburban Trends and the Bergen Record.
Thanks. Can we hear a roll call?
Mayor Martucci?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Here.
Council members Bolton?
Here.
Davison?
Here.
Ferretti?
Here.
O'Keefe?
Here.
Spear?
Here.
Also present is the Borough Manager, Director of Department of Public Works, Scott Heck, Acting Municipal Clerk Nicole Langemeyer, Borough Attorney Richard Klemak, and CFO Tax Collector Debbie Buchanan. Please stand for the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have a proclamation for the week of the Young Child Proclamation. Whereas the Highlands Family Success Center, along with Skylands Learning Center, the Center for Family Resources, and Our Lady Queen of Peace Early Childhood Academy, in conjunction with the National Association for the Education of Young Child, are celebrating the Week of Young Child, April 8th to April 12th, 2019, and April as the month of the young child. And whereas these organizations are working to promote and inspire high-quality early childhood experiences for the state's youngest citizens that can provide a foundation of learning and success for the children of Ringwood, and whereas teachers and others who work with or on behalf of the young children birth through 8 who make a difference in the lives of the young children of Ringwood deserve our thanks and recognition. Whereas public policies to support early learning for all young children are crucial to children's futures and to the prosperity of our society, I, James Martucci, Mayor of Ringwood, do hereby proclaim April as the month of the young child, and to designate April 8th to 12th as the week of the young child in Ringwood, encourage all citizens to work to support and invest in early childhood in Ringwood. Thank you. Next, approval of minutes.
We have the business meeting February 19th, 2019. All were present.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Ferretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Abstain. I haven't had a moment to review the minutes that came late yesterday afternoon.
Spear?
Yes.
Okay. Next, we're gonna move the general public portion. And in the spirit of trying to have the meeting move along on a smooth, continuous basis, I ask everyone to keep the comments to 3 minutes. Please get up once. We have a second public portion. If you have something additional to say, or you can email myself or Scott Heck. Anyone has anything to say, please get it.
Tom McCown, 32 Judith Ann Drive, Ringwood. I'll just pass this around. Basically, the reason I'm here is it rained Friday night.
It
Rained a lot. And a little report is on the flooding that we get on Judith Ann. It's coming down off of the streets, as I call them, the girl streets, the Dolores, the Marshes. I believe it's because of inadequate catch basins up on Joseph. It's something that I realize you're not going to be able to take care of right away. You probably have a lot of issues after that rain. I mainly want to bring it up to get it on the record. But I think it's an issue that should be addressed and can be addressed. Judith Ann is not the first time that we've had mud down on the street. Basically, the catch basin's clogged up. It runs down the driveways on Joseph and then rushes down through the yards on Judith Ann. You'll see on the back there, they'll see where the town cleaned up the street, then on the back, where it actually filled in the streets before they cleaned up. Mainly, I'm bringing it up to get it on the record so that it's here, if you can get on the schedule. And eventually, next time you're going to be paving the streets up there, would be the time to put in some catch basins on Joseph.
Okay, thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Jennifer Shu, 205 Lakeview Avenue. As you know, the town has been awarded bronze certification by Sustainable New Jersey, and this is a prestigious designation. This award was contingent on the establishment of a green team, and the green team is under the general rubric now of Sustainable Ringwood. Within the framework of Sustainable New Jersey, a subcommittee of the Green Team can be created, which is dedicated to supporting the arts, music, and cultural activities within the community. I'm here to report that following the guidelines of Sustainable New Jersey, we have established a creative team as a subcommittee of our Green Team. The creative team will develop a plan for locating sites for creative activities. It will assist in seeking support for the arts, and it will collaborate with other leaders to build more creative communities and economies. We are seeking recognition of the creative team. I have presented to you an overview of the relationship between the Green Team and the creative team. As indicated on the handout, Councilwoman Kathleen O'Keefe is the sponsor of the creative team as well as the Green Team. I am the chair of both teams, and there are two co-chairs for the teams, Janice Pavid and Janine Graham. I would like to just mention now the vision and the mission. The vision of the creative team is to establish and cultivate a platform for the free and public expression of theater, music, as well as other visual and performing arts within the community, and to support sustainable Ringwood activities. The mission of the creative team is to nurture and revive the pre-existing community of artists while simultaneously attracting new cultural and artistic diversity. To improve local business vitality through cultural and arts programs, to integrate arts and culture into programs designed to rejuvenate and stimulate the community, and to provide safe space for artists to create and share ideas, cultivate and capitalize on Ringwood's natural beauty, and as well as act as a catalyst for meaningful development linking arts and culture directly to sustainability. We have a number of volunteers who have joined the creative team. We would welcome more new members. We meet on the second Saturday of each month at 10:30 in the library. One of our goals is to find spaces for artists in the community to engage in their art, whether it be concerts, plays, exhibits, or some other form of art. And we were excited to learn that the town is currently renting space at St. Catherine's. In the past, this space has been used for plays. The recent art show is a great example of how this space can be used for cultural events which are important to the community. This space is well lit and accessible to seniors. We would like to see more cultural activities taking place in this space, and we hope we hope that the council will be supportive of our goal. Perhaps you could let us know the procedures for booking space. We are also
Okay.
requesting that someone from the Recreation Commission be appointed to work with the creative team so we can collaborate with the municipality in providing a broad range and diverse range of recreational activities to the community. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Robin Canetti, 310 Lakeview Avenue. I watched the last meeting at home, and part of the manager's report caught my attention. First of all, I understand that our finances are in a downward spiral, which of course should be concerning to everybody, but I'm curious how we got there when the same people have been in charge for the last 12 years. The county's been flat for like the last 3, so we can't always blame the county. So here we are, we're having financial difficulties. We're gonna spend, and I know it's open space fund, but we're gonna spend apparently more than $90,000 for a piece of property that's valued at 50, which just paying almost double the value of a piece of property makes no sense to me, and taking property off the tax rolls when we need every penny we can get also doesn't really make sense to me. But the thing that really caught my attention, and I had to replay it, was that one of the possible solutions to our downward spiral is Ringwood becoming a logging town and going to logging. First of all, logging is the most dangerous industry in America, according to a Time study in 2016. I don't know why we would want logging in Ringwood. I'm not sure where we'd make money unless we own a piece of property large enough with big enough trees, and I don't get the impression that Ringwood has a lot of loggable size trees. And let's say we did have enough logs that are large enough to interest somebody in the logging industry. We're a town where, in the same breath, I think they were talking about paths to the top of our beautiful scenic hiking trails to look down on our beautiful town. Why would we want to be looking down on logging operations? And if we have enough big trees, why do we want to have trucks carrying big giant trees out of our town on our nice little windy roads? We already know what the quarry has done to our roads. So I hope somebody's going to revisit logging, because Ringwood should be known for its trees standing up high, not laying on the back of a flatbed. Thank you.
Our forests have already been, Tom Conway, 19 West Circle. Our forests were already logged, and when Tennessee Pipeline came in and absolutely tore through it, the only difference is the wood didn't make it out of the forest. They ground it down to chips so no one would know what they were doing back there. Still have the pictures and stuff. But I'm here today to talk about the Highlands Grant for CUP's application for the lakes around Ringwood. So we brought this up at the last meeting. I know some people on the council were at the meeting. I was not. But Alan has filled me in the details. The Tri-Lake Committee, this is a committee of Cupsaw, Erskine, and Skyline Lakes to adjust to the changing atmosphere and really the regulations going on in the lakes. They have voted unanimously to support this Highlands Grant application. With the closure of one of our lakes last year, as well as the increase in regulations from the state, this is the right time, the right moment to do it. I know last time we had a concern that it might bind the town to some, maybe exposing our private lakes to being public or something else. We've looked into it. I forget her name from the Highlands Council, but she came and addressed the group, basically took care of all their concerns, and in a unanimous vote, all 3 lakes support this. I hope the town does as well when that comes up. It's really the right time to do this. We've already had a lake closed. It was closed, luckily, at the end of the season. If that happens in the middle of the season, you're going to hear about it. And any decision you make on this grant will be connected to that. So it's really, we need to move forward. We've had a lake closed. If that lake is closed in July, we've got a major problem in our town. So I think anything we can do to get money to research what our problems are. Unfortunately, these types of studies usually do lead to more expense, more work on the town's part. But it's either we do the work or we close our lakes. All the lakes we have are dammed. What do dammed lakes want to do? They want to return back to marshland. As soon as they become a wetland, they're going to get protected in their whole new series of things. So it's in our best interest now to attack this up ahead of time. I also wanted to bring up the Superfund site. I've heard a lot of different ideas about it. 5 years ago, recycling made sense, a recycling center. Recycling's never made sense. It's a complete waste of our country's resources, and it's a way to fool the public into thinking they're actually saving and doing environmental duties. They're not. They're just adding costs to the economy, which ultimately hurts the environment. But we're 5 years later, we got tariffs, we got things going on right now that have destroyed the recycling market. So the recycling center may not be the best idea. Solar panels are not, we're at the wrong latitude. We're too far north for solar panels to be really effective. My concern is our company put those in 10 years ago. Obama's throwing around SRECs. If you look around those telephone poles, you'll see the rotting solar panels that Obama forced our local government, our local utilities to put on telephone poles. It does not make sense to put a solar panel on a telephone pole on Route 17. It never did, but they had to get 5% of electricity. So those SRECs we had in our business made sense. Now we got a bunch of rotting solar panels on our roof because every 10 years this technology becomes more efficient and better. So the last thing I want to see us do to Upper Ringwood is put in panels filled with chemicals that need somewhat maintenance, but really to the point in possibly 20, maybe less years to become obsolete. So now we've got old solar panels sitting on top of a contaminated site, certainly we disagree on the numbers, but certainly a contaminated site. It doesn't make sense because now we're going to just have a whole bunch of metal and useless stuff sitting out there in 20 years. And this site's been going on for 50 and we haven't solved it. I don't know why the idea of putting in a temporary solution on it makes sense. A turf field doesn't make sense. A community center is nice, but it might be an empty building. We've got a lot of community centers out here that are willing to rent out space. We might want to consider a museum there. I looked it up. There's no Superfund museum in the United States. There's nothing that's traced the history of Superfunds for the last 50 years. You get a lot of benefits for that. Number one, you can really stick it to Ford and the EPA. And let's not forget the EPA is liable here on our site because they closed us down and let it sit for another 30 years. I've been in contact recently with them, and it hasn't been good, but they are liable on this site. But a museum would serve a bunch of purposes. First of all, in a museum, you can have community rooms and spaces for people to meet and get together. It would also provide employment. We could selectively, although I don't think anyone should live there, but certainly residents of Upper Ringwood could come work there. We could make it a story. There's enough hiking trails and things that could go out there. You can show them the old mining's work. It's a possibility to show not only our mining history, but also the legacy of Ford and the EPA. And I tell you, nothing would put a smile on our residents' face than having a museum that bashes Ford and the EPA sitting on top of that site.
Tom, thank you. We're trying to keep it down to 3 minutes.
Oh, okay. You're enforcing that rule.
Yes.
Perhaps I'll come up. Thank you.
Ringwood needs open funds for education, open space for farming, for Passaic County Board of Education, for the state of New Jersey, and all the agencies of New Jersey, and the Ringwood Historic Society, and everything else in this in Passaic County.
Thanks, Mark. Thank you, Mark.
Hi, good evening. Ken Liggett, 700 Stonetown Road. I'll try to keep it short, but it's going to be tough. I just want to say I have a general attitude about Stonetown. I call it the Wild West of Ringwood. Because anything you want to do, you want to speed on the road, you want to throw garbage out, you want to tear down state fences so you can get your ATVs into the forest. Right in front of my house, I'm sitting right on the corner of Ricker Road. I see everything that happens. Scott's been out there. It's been over 4 years now. The road, the shoulder in Stonetown Road is collapsing, and nobody's doing a damn thing about it. And there's vehicles going in and out of that opening. Why? I don't get it. The main purpose why I'm here, and I thank you for letting me talk to you, is the speed limit on my road, 40 miles an hour, is absolutely ridiculous. I go out to take my garbage cans out, or I go out to my mailbox. My wife and I go walk down the road to pick up all the garbage people throw out of their cars, and these people don't even slow down. These are my neighbors doing this, my neighbors.
The road is much too fast. We got 80,000-pound dump trucks going up and down all day long with their Jake brakes coming down Ricker Hill. It sounds like a machine gun coming at you. It's absolutely terrible. The motorcycles, the noise. We have neighbors in our neighborhood that have dragsters that go up and down Stonetown Road. During the summer, primarily, these things happen. I see people go into the woods and use it as a bathroom. I mean, what the heck? I don't think there's any other section of this town that goes through what I see on that road. No section has to deal with what I see. And I got 3 agencies I have to deal with. The town police, the state forestry people who don't even answer their phone on the weekend. The only people that respond to the reservoir police, they know what they're doing, but they're very limited, how should I say, obligations. And they've got a lot of resource. I know our cops are stretched. And a lot of times, I'm the guy that goes out and tells people not to park on that corner. Oh, come on up to Ringwood. Let's go for a swim. Let's have a picnic. Let's go fishing. And it's well marked, no parking. I'm the guy that goes out there and tells them to move. And I don't get a pleasant response very often. I'd like to see more police presence. I really would. And I'd like to see the damn speed limit drop to 30 miles an hour, which would be reasonable, at least to try to slow people down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Peter Sando, 24 High Point Lane. I just wanted to comment on the borough website, the part where you click on for Channel 77. And as someone who does not have Cablevision, it's to access the council meetings, we either have to, go to a neighbor's house or we can. I believe the audio is up, which is great, but it says live streaming is, YouTube isn't allowing us to live stream, and we're gonna try and reestablish it or whatever. And all I can say is I don't know too much about live streaming, but I think maybe you should address that. Put a little time in, maybe find out more about it, why there's a problem, and try and solve it. But more importantly, I think is the fact that a lot of residents, I don't know what the ratio is, but many residents do not have Cablevision. They have satellite or whatever, and they have internet. So I think the future, it's going to be more internet-based for public access to government. And I looked at our YouTube page, which incidentally, there's not a link on the website, and I think there should be a link on the website to the YouTube page that has all of the council meetings on it. And I think you remember last year I was down here complaining that after in November of 2016, I believe, you stopped putting the meetings up on the YouTube channel, and I believe that at the time there was a problem with the equipment here, and I was happy to see that was eventually later in the year solved, and they put up all the meetings from 2018. But I'm noticing that in 2019, there's no meetings up there yet. So I don't think there's any problem with that. I know I put up the community advisory group meetings, and they're sometimes 1.5, 2 hours long, and there's no problem. They go up in like 15 minutes. So I don't think there's a problem there. So I think the YouTube channel should be brought up to date with all the current meetings, and I think there should be a link on the website that goes directly to it. So at least after a week or two, however long it takes you to get a meeting up, people could go there and go right to it. And also, I see that you play the Freeholder meeting once a week on Channel 77, looking at the schedule, which is great. But the county has a YouTube channel as well where all the meetings are up. So maybe a link to that, just 2 little links on the website would be, more of open government for everyone. And most people do have internet if they, even if they have a satellite TV or whatever. So that's my suggestion, and maybe.
No, you're right. We've been talking about that because more and more people are just dropping Cablevision.
Yeah, I think it's going to go more in the future. It's going to be, just like, people don't have cash anymore. It goes more to credit, credit cards. So it's a wave of the future. It's going to, Cablevision, I guess, will always be there, depending on when your contract runs out. But in any case, maybe you could update me on progress on that. Tracy has my email address, and I'm interested in that. I recently did a show performing in West Milford, and he's got a great channel. He's got a lot of content on it, and you know, he's involved in JAG, and you know, we can trade stuff and everything, and so you know, I know we're a member of that, so maybe we can coordinate some content, some community content.
All right.
All right.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Paula Tedesco, 95 Upper Lakeview, and I'd like to give you a stigma-free task force update. We had our first meeting on March 5th. At least 20 educators, therapists, and Ringwood citizens attended. There was an incredible amount of energy and enthusiasm in the room. We were happy to announce at the time that Stigma Free and the Health Department were awarded a $7,000 grant from Atlantic Health. And we were also given a $500 donation from Aware ASAP. Very happy about that. Stigma-free information now appears on the borough website, and I'd like to thank staff for their expertise and support in accomplishing this. We will be marching behind our banner on Saturday for the St. Patrick's Day Parade and invite everyone to join us. There may even be a stigma-free t-shirt in your future. On April 1st, Jeanette, the town nurse, and I are meeting with the chiefs to begin planning for the first responders mental health first aid trainings. So that's moving along nicely. And finally, May is Mental Health Month. It has been celebrated nationwide for the last 49 years. I'd like to ask you, Mayor Martucci, to issue a proclamation declaring May Mental Health Month in Ringwood. I propose having a short ceremony in front of the Borough Hall at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, April 16th, just prior to the council meeting. This would be a great opportunity to take photos with our banner and to issue a press release. I hope you'll consider this proposal. Let's celebrate our stigma-free status together. And I can provide you with a sample proclamation if you'd like.
All right, can you send me
Thank you.
an email?
Sure, I will.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, Ann Seebecker, 5 Fox Hill Lane in Ringwood. I wanted to start out by just thanking the DPW. Their Facebook page has been great, been very helpful, informative, things about recycling and all sorts of other stuff, so thank you for that. On behalf of the Weiss Center, I just wanted to mention a few things for those of you that are not aware, and I still run into people that either don't know it reopened or never knew it was there in the first place. The new Weiss Center is over on Snake Den Road, and we do education, arts, and recreation. We have a couple public health and safety classes coming up that I wanted to mention. We're working closely with Ringwood Ambulance and New Jersey Search and Rescue, and with some of the members of the Stigma-Free Task Force to offer these for the community. So in June, we have taught by Ringwood Ambulance members a CPR, first aid, and CPR first aid and AED class, and that will be open to the public, and I know that often fills up with scout leaders and parents and things like that. Later on in June, we're offering the 2-day wilderness first aid certification, and I think that's especially important with all our trails and mountain bikers and hikers. It's an excellent class, and that's being taught for us by New Jersey Search and Rescue members. And then in the summer, and part of Weiss's effort to support the Stigma-Free initiative, we're going to be offering the mental health first aid class for the public. This will be a little different from the one that Paula was talking about for first responders. This will be meant for the general public. So I just wanted to let everybody know that we have those classes coming up. Separate from that, we have a wonderful Earth Day event coming up, lots of partners, things for all ages, kids, and interesting things. Passaic River Coalition, North Jersey Mineralogical Society is our new partner, and they're going to be doing a lot of geology programs over at Weiss. We have the Watershed Ambassador going to do a stream program. We have the ever-popular people from Totes Goats coming with their farm animals. We're going to do a stream assessment, and we have a guided hike coming up. And we're working in partnership with some of the other organizations like the Environmental Commission and Sustainable Ringwood. So I hope you all will come out on the 20th. And lastly, I just wanted to mention we have some other big events coming up. And I'm hopeful that at some point in time, I'm reaching out to different groups like the Chamber of Commerce and the EDC, but we would love to see more participation from some of the businesses in town. We're bringing a lot of people into town from other areas, and they ask us all the time, where can we go to eat afterwards? Is there any Airbnbs? Is there anywhere where I can go and get this? We have a 25 and 50K, yes, that's right, 50K, 30-something miles ultra trail run coming up in May. And so that is bringing in probably 100 people. We also have a We Hike to Heal event coming up at the end of this month, and that also has about 100 people. So we're bringing the people in, and we want them to spend their money in town. So if you know of any business owners that might be interested in working with us, please have them get in touch with me.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Should do that without votes.
Anyone else want to get to speak? See no one?
Seeing no one, make a motion to close public?
Second?
Roll call?
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
You want to address?
You want me to address any of these items quick, Mayor?
Yeah, I'll take the grant.
Judith Ann Drive, we had the engineer out there yesterday and today looking at some of those issues. There's been some issues there in the past, so they're looking at that now. So Jeff went out already to identify that, met with a lot of the residents. Jennifer you did send me an email last week. Unfortunately, I was out with the wonderful flu, so I didn't get it, but I responded, and I will send that out to the council and
Great, thank you so
have
much.
it get back. Relative finances and how we got here. Unfortunately, tax appeals is how we got here, and I think if you take one little segment out of what I said, I talked a lot about at the last meeting about options and compromising and coming up with solutions and finding ways that we could tie our trail system together so that we could take advantage of some of the vistas and getting appropriate trails to some of these locations through our own property and through other properties, and that it is appropriate and done all over the place forest management plans that you can create and identify your own type of logging plan that could or could not work, and you could sell those logs that are desirable. We have it's something that's done through the DEP. It's done in conjunction for Healthy Forests. As a matter of fact, I think Weiss Ecology does it. Many lands do these things. So, I mean, if you want to be negative and take one or two words out of an entire statement, it's an option to help try to connect some of our paths and improve some of the trails that we have. Because as we talked about, and I think Mr. McCallum even talked about it at the EDC, that some of the trails are in need of some attention, in need of some work, and we can generate some sales of lumber while we're doing those type of things. So if you isolate out a sentence out of an entire 20-minute speech, that's the type of things that happen. So I think you have to look at it in its totality. So I talked about that as a possible option. Is Tom still here? Tom Conway, yes. We are, Kathy and I in the Health Department, our health officer have talked about the grant. We have met with the Highlands. We are looking at options to try and move forward on a grant that would be positive to the lakes. We're also, quite frankly, very interested in a septic management plan, which, you know, the Highlands protected, and I talked about this at the last meeting, the Highlands protected all the vacant lands. What it didn't do is protect all the septics in and around the lakes that drain all into the lakes. And what we need to do through a septic management plan is to try and create a plan which will further protect the lakes, and we wanted to use some of that grant for that as well. We're trying to merge the two together so that it could possibly affect all the lakes. Our concern was there's more lakes than just the 3 in town. There's other lakes that are also affected. Twin Pond comes to mind, and others. So we are looking at that, and Kathy and I were going to meet last week. Unfortunately, I wasn't here, so we will follow up with that meeting, and hopefully we'll have something for the council at the next meeting. Mr. Liggett is 100% correct. I see him out there repairing his fence. He happens to be at the bottom of the hill at Stonetown Road. I watched the dump trucks come down that hill with that Drake brakes on, and there's a school bus at the stop. A year and a half ago, I suggested we start the process to reduce the truck traffic and eliminate the truck traffic on that road. I couldn't do that until the bridge was complete. The bridge is complete. I have now sent resolutions to the county and to Wanacue, who we have to get supporting resolutions, so we can petition the state to make that weight limit road, number one. That's in the process. I'm waiting for the county to get back to me. I sent them sample resolutions. I did that a month or so ago. But again, we had to unfortunately wait until the bridge was complete. We couldn't do that. They would never approve it while we were detouring, but there's no reason now it can't be done. I also am concerned about those trucks coming down that hill with a school bus stop. Not to minimize your home that's there, but the school bus stop right at the bottom of that hill. So I'll talk to the police. We've talked to the reservoir about their property. The property that you're referring to with the trails and the paths is reservoir property. We're encouraging them to fix it. They want to take care of their own property. They don't like it when we go on their property and fix it. So I will send them. They don't like that at all. As a matter of fact, I get notes when I do that. So I will continue to follow up with them to see if they can block that off and keep that fence up. So, and sometimes that's me pulled over on the side of the road on a cell phone, because when I get to the top of the hill, I lose it. So, but you're correct. Mr. Sando, the live streaming, I'd love to tell you, I know nothing about it, but I will talk to Tracy about that. And the stigma-free, yeah, the health department is very active in the stigma-free. They did get a grant. I've been working with Kathy and Jeanette on that, as well as Paula, and I think that Jeanette has already requested a proclamation, so I'll get that all to you for next meeting. And I think that's all on the public.
Yeah, I just wanted to speak a little bit about the grant that's coming. The 3 Lakes did agree on the grant. The action items are, we had to fill out a survey, send to Carrie. She was going to look at the commonality of all our concerns. She mentioned to some extent helping put together or show us samples of grants that we can put together. And it's all testing though. None of this has to do with fixing anything. It's all testing, which will go to the Highlands.
Frankly, don't talk to me if I don't have a chance to respond. Thank you.
We have a second public portion.
I got a family. I'm not going to sit through all this. If you're talking to me, I'm out of here.
I'd like to respond also to a few things that were said tonight, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay, I want to thank Jennifer for coming and announcing the creative team, and I see there's members in the audience here from the creative team. So I'd like you all to stand up and say thank you for coming out tonight. So if you're part of the creative team, please stand up and be noticed. I think it's a wonderful thing that we're going to have for our community. The creative team is a way to improve our community, and Morris County has a great arts and community culture, and they found that the nonprofit and art sector is a $31.8 million industry, and it supports 982 full-time jobs and generates $3.2 million in local and state government revenue. So I'm glad that you're taking this first step towards establishing a creative team that can really help our community grow in this area. We had so much to celebrate this March. There was so many great things going on. There was Newsies. There was also Chicago. There was the art show, and there was a great concert at the library. So all this is arts. It shouldn't be limited to 1 month. It should be all year long. I think it's a great suggestion, Jennifer, that we look into St. Catherine's Parish Center. I recall that Father Jerry and Father Pat were real proponents of the arts. They invested a lot of money in the lighting, and the shows there were fabulous. I know as a mother, my daughters spent all summer long down there, and at the end, they put on a great production. I had the peace of mind of knowing that my children were with wonderful people that were building their confidence and building their talent, and I would love to see that come back. And that brings me over to Stigma Free, so I want to thank you, Paula, for coming down and talking about Stigma Free tonight. I think a lot of people, when they talk about stigma, and I know Peter Sando said, clue me in, what is this stigma thing? So, for those in the audience who aren't really aware of what stigma is, it's a mark of disgrace which results from the judgment of others. When an individual is labeled by their illness, experience, judgment, and prejudice, it can lead to feelings of shame, embarrassment, distress, hopelessness, and reluctance to accept and to seek help. And I think that between depression, mental illness, and also the opioid crisis that our children are experiencing, now more than ever, we need stigma-free. And I thank you for bringing it to Ringwood. I saw this in my local paper recently about young people considering suicide. We're losing too many young people. And just this past week, we lost 2 young people, and everybody's heart broke. So I want to remind everyone that young adults now more than ever are reporting mental health issues. It seems to be 1 in 4. The study found a 63% increase in young adults between the ages of 18 and 25 reporting symptoms of depression between 2009 and 2017. This is a crisis for our society. I think arts and culture will help bring our children back into the fold. And I hope that Stigma-Free will let people know that there's no stigma. I think everybody's family has been touched, whether by mental illness or substance abuse. And I hope everyone that has been touched joins you behind your banner, Paula, and marches with you to let the community know that we are standing beside them, because it takes a village to raise a child. And we all have to be here for our young people and to help them reconnect and to flourish. And Mr. Liggett, I want to thank you for coming down this evening. I read your correspondence, and I agree with you, and I'm glad that we have taken as a council the steps to reduce the poundage of trucks going down Stonetown Road. But also, we have to address the speed limit, I think. 40 is high, and I hope that we can look into that also.
Thank you.
The other thing that I just wanted to
Can you
mention
keep your other
quickly.
comments to the mayor and council? So we can move
Oh,
on
okay,
the
I
rest
just
of the
wanted
meeting?
to respond to the audience that was so courteous to get up and speak to us tonight. But if that's enough, I'll stop.
Thank you. Okay, old business.
Okay, you ready, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Okay, the first matter is an ordinance 2019-01. Could there be a motion to read by title, please?
So moved.
Second.
Can I get a second? Roll call?
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Ferretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
Okay, an ordinance to authorize the Borough of Ringgood to acquire property owned by D.L. Swanson, which property is designated on the tax map of the Borough of Ringgood as Block 736, Lot 3. Mr. Mayor, since this is the final hearing, the matter can be open to the public for comment.
Okay. Anyone wishing to speak to the audience?
Seeing no one, move to close.
Second.
Roll call?
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Ferretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
I'll recite a resolution for discussion. Resolved that ordinance 2019-01, as read by title, being is hereby adopted, and the municipal clerk is designated and directed to publish a copy of notice of passage of same in the official newspaper of the municipality. Could be a motion, a second, and council discussion.
Okay. Can I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Ferretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Ordinance passes. Okay, the next ordinance is.
Oh, that was
ordinance-
to open
No,
this.
no,
I
no.
think they thought that was for discussion. No, that was for, well, we could resolve it. I read it as adoption, and then it could be the council discussion, and then there was a roll call. But we could reverse. Okay.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Anyone want to
Yeah.
get up and speak to the?
No, we're not gonna go to
The
public,
public,
just
just council.
council discussion
Yeah.
at this point.
Okay, and council discussion.
I did want to clarify the numbers involved and how we got there, because I think there's some misunderstanding within the community. And of course, I want to talk numbers, but I don't have them exactly in front of me. But I won't, I guess I'll thumb through. Okay, so I should thumb through.
I can send the letter down to you.
Oh, thank you. But the purchase price was never intended to be based on market value, but rather based on the formula that is used for a property that's owned prior to the Highlands Act, and based on what that valuation would have been in a world without the Highlands Act. And the value, that's the hypothetical land value, excuse me, so the certified market value, which would be what they could sell it for now, was $52,000, and the hypothetical land value was $92,000. So that is what they could have sold it for in a world without the Highlands Act, where they could do whatever they wanted. And so that's arrived at through a set formula by a limited number of appraisers who are allowed to make these assessments. And so then the state is chipping in 50% of that hypothetical value, and then the balance comes from us. So it's 46 and 46, if I remember.
Correct.
Yes, Mayor, this started when Kelly was here, and it's something that needed to be concluded. And yes, you are correct. The DEP and the Highlands has a hypothetical value and an actual value, and they pay off of the higher value for people that own the land prior to the Highlands Act, which this happens to fall into that category. So, this is something that has been on the open space list for, I don't know, you might know better than me, Mayor, 6-7 years, and it's gone through the process, and this is the final hearing after all the hearings that it's had over the years.
Okay.
I'm, for the record, happy for trees, but still bummed about losing the billboard. Okay, say la vie.
Billboard's in the right of way, but we'll talk about that. So Mayor, now you need if there's any other council discussion, you need to have another vote on the passage or.
Okay.
So moved.
We have the motion, just a roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance number 2019.
1902, yes, a motion to read that ordinance by title, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
An ordinance amending Chapter 4, General Licensing and Business Regulations, the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Ringwood, County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, amending hours of solicitation and other matters. Mr. Mayor, the matter goes open to the public.
All right, can you just give a
Yes.
quick synopsis?
Yes, this is, this ordinance, this ordinance has to be read in conjunction with another. We, the council passed what's called a no-knock ordinance, I think last year. What a no-knock ordinance is, you can register your property with Borough Hall, and a commercial vendor cannot knock at your door to sell you anything. Okay, if they do that, that's a violation of the ordinance, and they're subject to fine. At the same time, an organization, a law firm that specializes in challenging municipalities on these types of solicitation ordinances, notified Ringwood and numerous other towns that they thought that our hours of solicitation and certain requirements were unconstitutional. They won several cases in New Jersey and throughout the United States. We consulted with our insurance carriers, and they suggested we make some changes to the ordinance. Among the changes, we took out a word, the ordinance required that the vendor prove their good moral character. Well, we agreed that's a rather vague statement. What's moral character, so we took that out. We also extended the hours. These folks wanted us to go to 9 PM at all times. What we've done is, what the council is suggesting is that during daylight saving time, it'd be 8 PM, and during Eastern Standard Time, it'd be 6 PM, but not be 9 PM as they requested. Whether or not this law firm will be satisfied with that, I don't know, but that is the position the council is taking. So that's essentially what this ordinance is. When we were advised of this legal threat to us and others, that's when we instituted the no-knock. So if you so desire, you can contact Borough Hall, and you'll have nobody knocking on your door, right? No commercial vendors knocking on your door. That's your desire. Okay?
So no activity on Sundays?
No, not on Sunday.
Anyone want to come up to speak to this ordinance?
Move to close public portion.
Move to close.
Second.
Roll call?
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
Okay, resolved that ordinance 2019-02 is read by title, is hereby adopted, and the municipal clerk is directed to publish a copy of notice attaches the same in the official newspaper of the municipality. Again, that'll be a motion, a second, and then discussion.
I'll call you tomorrow.
So we're just reading it, it's not passage.
No, this is for final passage.
I'll call you and let you know.
Yes. So we have a motion, a second, and then there's council discussion, and then a roll call.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
I'll make that motion.
Now that I get, okay.
Roll call. Any council?
Council discussion first.
Oh, council discussion. So I know that the moral character reference was always vague, but it was also intended to essentially scare away anybody with ill intent. Not that they would be the most likely to come in and file paperwork. Without revisiting the full ordinance, is there still any kind of police check
Oh, yes,
involved?
oh, yes, the
Okay.
police do a total check. Oh, yeah, I should have made that clear, right? We can't, they could check record, the person's record, background, there's recommendations. You just can't make and I almost, I don't know when the ordinance was written many, many years ago. I never paid attention to that one little thing, moral, because that gets, what is moral, what is immoral? But if you have a criminal record, we don't have to talk morality, it speaks for itself. So the police department does have the right to reject a candidate, a prospective solicitor. Of course, they have rights to appeal, they can be heard on appeal if they want to and prove their case, but the department does have that right, exactly.
And it's not just the group, it's each individual knocker. So it's
Yes.
not as though you can send your best person for the check and then you've got 10 people canvassing Ringwood with sketchy records, every person.
And I think they'll have a,
Yeah,
ID,
they identify themselves, and you'd be surprised at the number of people that come back and file an application and don't end up leaving the building without, on their own. So you would be surprised.
I don't know if I would anymore.
Okay, do we need roll call?
Yes.
Okay, Claire, roll call?
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance passes. Mr. Mayor, the next ordinance is an introduction ordinance, so there'll be no public discussion at it. So if I have a motion to read by title, please?
So moved?
Second.
Roll call?
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
An ordinance
Yes.
amending, an ordinance amending Chapter 18, Water and Sewer Revised Ordinance of the Borough of Ringwood, Section 18-9, Charges for Water Service and Water Consumption Rates.
Yeah, Mayor, I met with the Finance Committee. We've talked about the water concerns and our water rates, and it's the recommendation of myself as well as the Finance Committee to increase a 2% rate on the water rates for the upcoming year. It would only be into effect for 6 months of the year by the time you pass it, so it'll be the third and fourth quarter billing, which will help our water problems, and so that's what this is based upon. And I'll certainly bring the rates for at the next meeting for the old rates, but we are still significantly lower than most of the towns around us, and so this is our recommendation.
Okay, well, I'll recite an ordinance to put it on the table for your action. Be it resolved that ordinance 2019-03, as read by title, is hereby introduced, and the municipal clerk is directed to publish a copy of the ordinance in the official newspaper of the municipality, with the second reading and public hearing to be held at 7:30 p.m. at the municipal building on August 16, 2019. I'm sorry, April 16, 2019.
Okay, motion.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
That's all I have.
Questions, Bolton?
I just lost the thread of it. That was now we're talking about it.
Well, it's going to
Really
be,
need
it's
to
going to
drink
be
my coffee
revisited again
fast.
next month, so we can.
Well, just in terms of like framing it from, you know, where it came from, I did want to say that part of the intent was rather than a more sporadic, more dramatic increase, so taking a year or two off and then having a bigger increase to have a more level rate of increase to cover our costs was the thinking behind this more moderate raise.
Yeah, it was
Just to add some
4%
context.
last year, right?
Right, and so to just try and smooth things out and actually try and cover the costs that we're incurring on a regular basis.
Okay, resolutions.
Resolution 2019-75, whereas the Chief Financial Officer has certified the funds for the payment of the current bill list in the amount of $328,073.87. Supplemental payments in the amount of $2,911,572.53. Merchant services fees in the amount of $149.45 to be credited to the following accounts for a total of $3,239,795.85. Of which the Ringwood Board of Education is receiving $1,745,952.04. Lakeland Board of Education is receiving $1,058,968.10.
Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
I was just checking, and I don't know if I want to run through
Okay.
a million individual vendor questions.
Roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
Our portion of the bill list was actually small this month. The most of it was going to other governments. 2019-76, resolution authorizing foreclosure under the IMRAM Foreclosure Act and establishing the tax foreclosure list of liens to be foreclosed upon. The list is attached. Mr. Klimek, do I need to read this list?
No, you don't have to read the list, no. These are properties that are in tax arrears, and this is to authorize tax foreclosure.
Be resolved that the municipal council of the Borough of Ringwood in the Passaic, County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, here determines that the Borough of Ringwood foreclose by summary proceedings of INRAM as provided by the INRAM Tax Foreclosure Act. Tax sale certificates held by it, as is listed, the attached list prepared by Debbie Buchanan, Tax Collector for the Borough of Ringwood, dated March 4th, 2019.
Can I get a motion?
I'll move it.
Second.
I just had a quick question. I didn't see that list. Is it attached to ours also, or is it just yours?
It should be attached to yours.
It is? Okay.
Right after the bill.
It's right after
That's
the,
it.
right after the bill list.
You passed it.
I passed it, okay. I passed it?
No, it's past the bill list. You gotta go the other way.
Okay. Is this it? Here? I didn't change the order.
Just flip the
You have a
staple.
copy? Thank you.
You can just flip the stapled copies. It'll go to the, it's the next one. in line.
Thank you.
Okay, next.
We need a roll call on that, Mayor.
Okay, roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
Resolution 2019-77, resolution authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $6,454,400 in bond anticipation notes of the Borough of Ringwood, be it resolved, the municipal council of Borough of Ringwood hereby rolls over the existing debt. It's just a renewal of our existing bond anticipation notes. There's no new debt incurred by this, this is just existing.
So
This is the money that has not gone to permanent funding.
And so no, no increase in debt, but then also no hypothetical extension in terms of the length that we would be paying for it, because it hasn't gone to permanent funding.
Hasn't got permanent funding, right. We just roll these over. You did them last year as well. You roll them over each year. And I believe you get new interest rates over the period of time each year. You go back out to market.
So then the costs could hypothetically fluctuate depending upon what rate they wind up giving us. It could be
Right.
higher, it could be lower.
These right now are yielding to the banks or whoever holds the notes, 2.7%? 2.7%.
Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
Resolution 2019-78, whereas the Borough of Ringwood authorized a tolling agreement between the US EPA relative to the Upper Ringwood site, and whereas said agreement is due to expire on March 29, 2019, now therefore be it resolved, municipal council of the Borough of Ringwood hereby authorizes permission to extend the tolling agreement until June 28, 2019, subject to no objection from the carrier council, and be it further resolved, municipal manager is authorized to execute the appropriate tolling agreement on the borough behalf.
Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
People don't
Resolution-
come like almost every month. This is
it's
the,
just-
we don't sue you, you don't sue us, and they change the date and won't let us go until like the end of the year, 2022.
And we buy into their BS that they're actually gonna have this solved by June. Okay, we'll just pretend that, okay, sure, guys, yeah, we'll have this all knocked out by June 28th.
Just for anyone who's missing like the wrong meetings where it might seem like a,
It seems the same thing with
being
all-
treated very casually, it comes up like every other meeting, I feel like.
We've signed
But
the
now it'll
consent
come up in June.
We've signed the consent decree. Ford signed the consent decree. The only people that have not signed the consent decree are the federal government. So,
Can't get out of their own way.
Resolution 2019-79, whereas the borough requested a proposal for professional services updating and revising the tax maps, and whereas Schwanneweed Holes Engineering submitted a proposal dated February 25th, 2019, whereas the chief financial officer has certified the funds are available in the amount not to exceed $30,000 from the budget line item 901-2715-228. It's in the engineering budget. Whereas the borough engineer recommends awarding this contract to Schwanneweed Holes, subject to the New Jersey pay-to-play documentation and Ringwood pay-to-play documentation. Now therefore be it resolved that the municipal council of the borough of Ringwood hereby awards professional services for updating and revising the tax maps in the amount not to exceed $30,000 to Schwanneweed Holes Engineering of Oakland, New Jersey.
When was the last time we had?
We were due to, you have to do it all the time, but the state is requiring that most of the towns do this, and so we're updating our maps. Our surveyor that has been here for many, many years is somewhat retired at the age of 80.
Bucky,
Yeah, Mr. McGee. So after a long tenure here, we have to go to another vendor.
Can I get a motion?
Will these tax maps be accessible to the public? Will they be
Always.
online?
No, I don't know, they may be online, I'm not sure, I'll have to ask Jeff how
Okay.
that sounds, but residents all the time pick up tax maps, they can buy the miniature versions, they, you know. so.
Actually, the tax map's right over there. Anybody can come in anytime.
Yeah, I know, but I
Yeah,
was just
yeah,
wondering,
right.
you know, in this day and age,
Yeah.
if they'd be available maybe through a link on our website so that, you know, if the town's gonna pay all this money to have these tax maps, maybe they could get them without having to come down and look at them here.
It's pretty heavy document, and the
It is.
state's requiring us to break it up into different sheets and different breakdowns of overlay maps, and they're breaking it out differently than we ever did before. So a lot of the cost is the state's changed some of the requirements. The key's now broken down into 3 separate pages instead of one overall page, and there's some new requirements. And so maybe it'll be online, I don't know, I'll have to ask Jeff whether he's planning on doing that or what type of space that would require. I don't know.
Okay.
It would be great if it could just be a
Yeah,
PDF.
you can scan them and get them in. There should be, maybe afterwards, we can look at just scanning them, putting them up there. shouldn't be a problem.
Gotta start in a computer somewhere. They're not drawing them by hand.
Be surprised, those suckers have that provenance. Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of them are digitized by now, but, no.
We have the Mylars.
Yeah, Mylars.
We have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Wait, I think we have.
I'm just like, it's just such a lot of money. This is a good price.
Yes.
Roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
With the storm coming up, the big storm, I prepaid a vehicle before the bill list, and when I do that, I get a retroactive resolution. It was through an emergency repair we had to do on a truck so that we had it for the storm. Resolution 2019-88, be it resolved, the municipal council of the Borough of Ringwood hereby authorizes payment to King Paint Custom in the amount of $4,534.03 for an emergency repair to a salt truck that we had to have done. It was something that we had to do outside of our abilities, so we sent it out and got it back prior to the storm. So I prepaid this after I didn't prepay it. After we received the truck, I had Debbie cut a check for this dollar amount. It's not something I ordinarily do. I usually wait till the bill list. But he's a small vendor and didn't want to hold him up for 6 weeks to get our check. So.
Okay,
That definitely
motion.
covers the first question. Just the second, it had, so they have a note here about needing to look at the brake line and the steering as well?
Yeah,
on
no,
the
we
truck?
take care of all that
We
stuff.
can do that internally, okay, that was my question.
Yeah, pulling the engine and the trans and that kind of stuff, I had him do all that work, and then the other stuff we take care of.
Okay, perfect.
Motion?
I'll move.
Second?
Roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
That's all in resolutions, Mayor.
Okay. We're up to consent agenda. Consent agenda.
Mayor, you want me to do the consent agenda this evening?
If you could.
Sure. Resolution 2019-81, whereas the mayor and council of the Borough of Ringwood has reviewed the consent agenda consisting of various proposed resolutions. 2019-81, approval of the actual consent agenda. 2019-82, refund park and ride, $37.50. 2019-83, refund escrow money upon advice of the Board of Adjustment. 2019-84, authorized redemption of tax sale certificate various. 2019-85, authorized municipal lien redemption, block 600, lot 8. 2019-86, approval for payroll and payroll transfers for February. Now therefore be it resolved that the following resolutions in the consent agenda are hereby approved by the mayor and council.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
And manager's report.
There's nothing here.
Yeah. I have a few brief things to go through quickly. And the council's asking
Oh, I see.
correspondence to,
Thank
you want to do the resolution first, Riz? In your place in pink, Nicole has circulated a resolution 2019, what number is that?
It's going to be 87.
87. This is be it resolved, the municipal council of the Borough hereby approves a special council meeting on Tuesday, May 26th at 7:30 PM. Be further resolved, the municipal clerk is authorized to publish a notice in the official newspaper. This is for next Tuesday. I know she sent all of you a, I think
Oh,
you-
yeah, it's supposed to say March.
what did it say? May?
It says
I'm
May.
sorry.
This resolution has to state the purpose. Is that the introduction of the budget?
One of the purposes is introduction of the
Order.
budget, and
Okay.
we were going to try and put a few things on the council agenda next week.
What do you know as of now? You know anything now to announce it?
You may want to pay some more bills as we were out of the ability last week. Anything else for the agenda?
Nothing I can think of.
Nothing.
Introduction.
Can we add to it as before we
Only
publish
if
it on
it's
Friday?
minor, yeah, well, only if it's minor, but the main thing is the introduction of the budget, payment of bills.
Okay.
All right.
Do we think that we might be ready? I know it's somewhat aggressive because it'd be next week, but whatever resolution would be needed for the Highlands grant between the borough and all lake communities, including Tri-Lake, so that we could move that along?
I don't know that we were ready for that by next Tuesday. I had a conversation with the health officer briefly today about it, so I'll probably have more information after we talk for a couple of days, but we'll certainly get on the next agenda. And we can still work on we can file the grant without the actual resolution of the council, so.
Oh, okay.
Could you elaborate on that a little bit more? Because from my understanding, there's a septic grant that you can apply for, and there's also a lake management grant that you can apply for. And they're separate, and there's no limit to how many grants that you can apply to for the Highlands grant. And we did meet with Terry just last week, and it wouldn't be limited to just the 3 lakes. It would be covering all of the waterways and all of the water ponds in Ringwood, and it would be for testing. And I think that's an important component. And I was sorry to see Tom Conway leave, because the lakes have given this serious consideration, and this is a rolling grant. And the longer we delay, the more apt the money is going to be given to other municipalities in the Highlands, and we're going to miss our opportunity.
One of the problems that still hasn't been resolved
Right.
is the fact that the borough of Ringwood has to pay the bills. They have
No,
to-
that's not what Terry said.
Yes,
She
did.
said there was no matching funds
No,
from
no, no,
this municipality
The
for
way-
this grant.
The way the money flows is that whatever work is done, the invoices go to the Highlands Council for approval.
Right.
And then the Highlands Council reimburses the borough of Ringwood.
And Terry
Ringwood-
elaborated that most of these
And-
vendors would wait until the Highlands check was cut and wouldn't require the municipality to pay it in advance, because that
No,
was a
but
concern
that's
at the
not-
meeting.
That's not the problem. The problem is the borough of Ringwood will now have to set the contractor up as a vendor on their books.
Okay.
So in terms of doing that, we have to find out and make sure from the auditor if there's anything that we have to do in encumbering funds. Because the processing of payment has nothing to do with the lakes. It's all gonna come from the borough. So the borough has to set up a line item on the budget, has to set up on the vendor master, the contractor, okay? And then when it comes in from Highlands, the borough has to issue a Ringwood check. So we're trying to find out, in doing all that, what is our responsibility? Do we have, because we can't pay for an invoice without having funds encumbered to pay for that invoice. So we need to know how how the mechanics works. And how
Right.
quickly we have to set up the vendor and
Yes.
do all that. So that's the last stumbling point.
Okay, because when Terry was here, she was here for a couple hours last Tuesday night, and she did go over all of this with us. And she made it clear that the municipality wouldn't have to lay out any money, that the vendors that they've used in the past have always waited till the Highlands pays the bill before expecting to be paid. And currently, they're working with all 9 of West Milford's lakes. And isn't this a grant that comes up every year?
There are a lot of different grants, but I will take you back to the resolution that we passed 2019-75. The first sentence of the resolution says, whereas the chief financial officer asserted that funds are available for the payment of the current bill list, she has to certify that the funds are available if there's not a budget line item for this. And what happens if the bill comes in November? Even whether they hold off or they don't hold off, she's got to certify these funds, number one. And I met with her.
Terry?
Terry and the other individual, I forget her name.
Kerry Green. I'm
Yeah, and
sorry,
the other
you're right.
individuals that were there before they met with you guys. So I went over this, and she agrees that we have to, that there are some problems with some of the way this works. And we're trying to work through them, and I think we will be able to work through them. And the health officer is looking at different options on how we can get it all encompassed into one particular grant. Remember, every grant that you do, you have to also do administrations of those grants, and there's requirements of those grants. So
Yes, and I think
would
the,
prefer to wait until the health officer who started this process quite some time ago gets done, and maybe I can do it by next Tuesday, I just don't know that.
I hope so, because I know the lakes are very anxious about getting this going and making sure that they have science behind the decisions they make, because I think that's what's been lacking. We all sit, and you know, Jim, we all sit and we try to make the best decisions for our lakes, but without the science behind it, we're often just guessing. And this is a vehicle to get us the signs we need to make really informed decisions that are gonna help keep our lakes recreationally viable.
The first step is done. Everybody's got their survey in.
Right, I saw
So
that.
we're trying to now get feedback from Carrie on what she thinks, you know.
Well,
Alan's
if I
got
can
his-
help in any way to make this move forward so that we can have it next week, I'm here to help. Thank you.
On the occasion that it is possible for next week, it's only possible if it's on the agenda, which we could table if it's not something that we can do. Am I right on that?
Yeah,
So let's put it on the agenda, and then if we're not gonna do it, we're not gonna do it. Does that make sense?
It does.
And then in the meantime,
Your pleasure, folks,
Oh,
okay.
sorry.
That's your pleasure. How should I phrase it? It'll be, what would be, Scott, how should we phrase it?
It's an application, possible application to the Highlands Council for,
Lake management.
It's like a, they
Lake
call it,
management
it's not,
grant?
it's
A
an
lake
economic
management grant?
development grant, I think.
I'm sorry?
They call it. Like,
That's different, this
It's
is
a
lake
separate one?
management
Okay.
specifically.
Lake management grant?
Uh-huh.
Okay, all right, so that's the direct, all right, that'll be an amend, okay, so you'll have 3 items in on that agenda.
Okay.
Okay, all right?
I don't think it'll happen. I think we're several weeks away from getting feedback from Carrie in terms, unless you could talk.
She's very responsive. I will
Okay.
follow up with her.
And then we need to find out about what the accounting side is.
Okay.
Okay, well, that resolution for the special meeting then will be amended to include this new item?
Yes.
You have a motion second?
can you add one more thing, as long as we're
Sure.
gonna make it
Yeah.
can you add amendment to the recycling fee ordinance?
Okay. Got that, all right.
You had pizza for everybody?
Maybe we can bring out the prudent
Okay.
hiker.
All right, so we have 2 more.
But just having not been in any of the meetings and just read it, I know that it reads and it states that it's a reimbursement grant, that the Highlands pays back money that's been laid out.
Right.
So how they actually do it, maybe they bend it somehow, but I don't know if.
The Highlands doesn't pay the contractor directly.
No, but
Right,
they
it's a
said
reimbursement
most
grant.
of the contractors are willing to
But-
wait until the town is reimbursed before getting paid.
And I
It's
just
just
know
not
that
how
it's
the
like you
financial
can't
law
bank,
works.
right, and I was just gonna suggest, I don't know if it's Terry or Carrie, but
Carrie.
if, Carrie, I don't know if Carrie can talk to Debbie, and if
Oh,
that helps
directly.
ease things
Yeah.
at all, just to clarify whatever.
Oh, wait,
That's a
excuse me,
great
we can't enter
suggestion.
into obligations, assuming the good faith of
Correct.
people waiting for
Oh,
payment. We just
yeah.
have to be careful, because it's taxpayers' money. I mean, the light item would have to be set up, regardless how it works.
Right,
That's
there's
the
a
bottom
very
line.
limited number of vendors that help with the lake communities, and they're the same ones that have been helping with West Milford Lakes, Lake Apacon, Greenwood Lake. So it is something that they're knowledgeable of and will work hopefully with us, just as they have with the other communities.
Yeah, it wouldn't be to tell Debbie what to do or to cut any
No,
corners, but
no,
just
of
if
course
there's
not.
anything that speeds it, I just thought it would be better for them to talk to her directly.
So anyway, you have on the table, I don't know if there was a motion or a second to add those 2 items?
So moved.
That's the motion and second? And
Second.
Second, and then a roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
Okay. And
Okay. This was the perfect meeting for you to sit through, Deb. Since you're the one that certifies all these things. Some correspondence, we have some important correspondence that, the council's asked me, that these things that we need to, they're aware of them, but the public should be aware also. We received a letter dated February 19th by the 3 insurance carriers. This is in the matter of Rainwood Landfill Superfund site, claim number 009665543. Be advised that we've been informed that during a council meeting on November 27th, 2018, a council member made a motion to support a remedial remedy 5A of the O'Connor Disposal Recycling Area And a second motion not to build the recycling center was made and then tabled after some discussion. On behalf of Select...
Can you slow down a little tiny bit? That's what I understand. Just slow down a little bit.
Sure.
And a little bit louder.
I have been a little under the weather. I'll try to speak louder.
Thank you.
On behalf of Selective, it's probably not the speaker, it's probably me.
No, I'm sure.
On behalf of the Selective Insurance Company, otherwise known as Selective, ARI Insurance, Maryland Casualty Insurance Company, hereinafter collectively referred to as the insurance, please accept this letter as a reminder that the borough is bound by the settlement agreement and the term sheets it entered into with Ford and the insurance carriers in 2011 and 2015, as well as the amendments thereto. The term sheet between the borough and the insurers and Ford addressed the parties' respective obligations with respect to the O'Connor disposal area, specifically as well as the Ringwood Mines landfill site in general. Pursuant to the term sheet, the parties have agreed to certain items and conditions based upon the EPA's protections selection of capping remedy for OCDA. We refer the borough to the term sheets for the specific terms and language contained therein. As more fully explained below, the insurance hereby reserve their rights to disclaim any obligation to defend or indemnify the borough for any and all claims, liabilities that arise out of the borough's council decision not to build the recycling center or support the excavation remedy at OCDA without the knowledge or the consent of the insurers. To the extent that the borough may voluntarily assume obligations pursuant to such a vote, resolution, or other official decision, the insurers may not agree to provide the insurance coverage for such voluntary assumptions. Please be advised that these policies issued by the insurers contain certain terms and conditions as specified before, which I'm not going to read, or substantially similar language. To the extent that the borough violates the terms and conditions of the term sheet and the amendments thereto, the borough may voluntarily assume the obligations without the knowledge or consent of the insurers. Despite the ongoing communication with borough representatives and the defense afforded by the borough appears to be considering a material change to the agreed-upon settlement with the insurers without consulting them. Accordingly, the insurers reiterate their right to disclaim any and all liability assumed by the borough by virtue thereof or in connection with any decision to support a full excavation remedy or for OCDA or refusal to construct the planned recycling center at the former OCDA, including but not limited to the costs associated with any lawsuit that may be commenced by Ford for the violation of the binding agreements by the borough. The foregoing statement of the insurance position is not intended to be, nor is it to be construed as a waiver of the insurance previous reservation of rights with respect to the Ringwood Mine landfill site located in Ringwood, except as provided herein, the insurance expressly reserved the rights under the policy, including but not limited to the previous asserted in those reservations of rights. We talked about this at the council meeting on the 19th because I received it that same day, and I felt that this was something that the public should know. Mr. Klimek, you want to give a summary? Or?
Well, it's first of all, the carriers, I think, are being super cautious. While there may be discussion, there wasn't any action.
Right.
So it speaks for itself. I have no comment on it.
Okay. I also sent it to our new carriers just in case.
Mm-hmm.
We also received a letter from DEP. This is a notice of assurance program, the threshold exceedance. This is to inform you that it has been determined that the above facility reference has reached or exceeded 95% of its permitted flow determination by a 12-month consecutive average threshold. Consequently, pursuant to, you're required to submit a capacity analysis. This is for the James Drive treatment plant to the department within 180 days after reaching the threshold. In addition, you're required to submit a completed WQM 007 form. Not really a surprise that we exceeded our capacities with all the rain that we've had. We're starting to work on a plan to look at the groundwater infiltration into the James Drive treatment plant. We've talked about this. I received that letter March 8th, so that's not really a surprise. We're also working on the lead and copper at that facility as we speak. Recreation fields. The water table is extremely high. I know all the kids are anxious to get out onto the fields, but unfortunately, until they dry out a little bit, we're not able to get out there and groom the fields and get them ready, and we ask everybody to be patient. We have some indoor facilities that we're working on for lacrosse and soccer and some of these things, so hopefully we can get out there soon so that we don't cause damage by tearing them up in the mud. As you all know, the storm on Friday certainly wreaked havoc with our roads and catch basins. I don't know how many inches of rain we got in 20 minutes, but it was an incredible amount of water. The planning and design drainage is always underway in our community. However, the intensity of that rain, such that we had on Friday night, our facilities can't possibly handle it on a day-to-day basis. They generally handle it fine. There are always areas we work on. What further complicated it is the groundwater was the grounds are frozen. There was ice. Most people had 1.5 inches of ice on their property, so it just sheeted right across and carried anything in its way, clogging up a lot of the basins and so forth. We've been out cleaning up the roads, and we appreciate everybody's patience. A lot of the residents have been out there also assisting because they recognize the need to keep those basins clean. But the leaves clog them, and when the water comes down with that velocity, there's not much you can do about it. Minutes. As we're looking at the budget, we talked about this quite a bit. The minutes take a tremendous amount of time. I think the last minutes, Nicole, was 30 pages, and there's a lot of verbatim. And in this day of electronics, videos, and recordings, there's really no reason to spend 4 and 5 days when we're declining our staff here actually doing verbatim minutes when you can just go right to the recording. The recordings are online. So I am going to encourage our staff to reduce obviously the mechanics of the minutes are going to stay the same, but the verbiage and the word-for-word minute entries in today's day and age of electronics, videos, and everything else just does not make sense. So I know that everybody likes them, although I don't know if they really read them, but it's nice to have there to refer to, but you can also refer to the videotape and go right to that tape and save that amount of time, because those minutes required 5 hours, 6 hours, days for one person to get to that point, listening.
Can we look into software that does the audio to text to see if that can speed that up? Because I'm pretty digital, but I personally think a lot of people benefit from being able to search. Like, you can't search an audio file. You can't search a video. You can kind of cross-reference and try and figure out around when, but there's no time markers in written minutes. So it's like, did we talk about this 15 minutes in, an hour in, and jumping forward and backward, versus I can just search the document and see when we talked about what, and so could any member of the public. I'm a big fan.
We could timestamp this. During every resolution and every section of the budget, we could timestamp this so it's public portion. She could put a marker in each one of these things. This ability does have the ability to do that. We could look into some programs, but I think that in today's day and age, that 6 days is a problem.
It's a lot. It's a lot of time, but I would also just personally hesitate to dial that back, because I do think it's beneficial for the record.
We can bring it up next week during the budget discussions.
I got the latest Google stuff. They're about 70% when I try to dictate a text.
Right, like,
You know, like 70%.
I don't want to name a name, but I know like there's software out there that'll get you pretty close for hopefully $80 or something like that. I'm sure they'll charge us more and charge us every month.
For the government program?
I'm sure it'll be more.
I'm going to...
I was wondering what this was about.
Yes. Well, I'm going to go over here for a few minutes. Usually when Debbie's here, there's a reason Debbie's here.
I thought it was just for the bond anticipation notes, and I thought you were kind of mean.
Usually, yeah, she's not here.
It was. Blue with the star.
It's coming. What's that? I don't know. You're not gonna see a lot of pie charts. You know, next week I'm going to be presenting a budget that's likely to cut services and possibly staff here.